It was heartwarming to learn that a human warrior accidentally fathered a child for an alien queen. Captain Marcus Chen stepped out of his transport ship and onto the crystal surface of Zephyria. The ground beneath his boots sparkled like diamonds, and tall spires of pure light rose into the purple sky. He had seen many alien worlds during his years as a warrior and diplomat, but Zephyria was unlike anything he had ever experienced. "Stay close to me," Marcus told his small team of human advisors. "Remember, we are here to make peace, not war." The Zephyrian guards who met them were tall and graceful, with skin that glowed softly in the alien sunlight. They wore robes that seemed to be made of starlight itself. Marcus had studied their culture for months, but seeing them in person was still amazing. "Captain Chen," one of the guards said in perfect English, though his voice had a musical quality that made it sound like singing. "Queen Lirelei is waiting for you in the palace." Marcus nodded and followed the guards through the Crystal City. The buildings were beautiful, growing from the ground like living things. Zephyrian people stopped to watch the humans pass by. Some looked curious, others seemed worried. Marcus could understand why. Humans had a reputation across the galaxy as being tough and sometimes violent, but he was here to change that image. The palace was the most beautiful building Marcus had ever seen. It reached high into the sky, its walls made of crystal that changed colors as they walked. Inside, the halls were filled with soft music that seemed to come from the walls themselves. "The queen will see you now," the guard said as they approached. Two large doors covered in strange symbols. Marcus took a deep breath and walked through the doors. The throne room was huge, with a ceiling that looked like the night sky. And there, sitting on a throne made of pure light, was Queen Lirelei. She was the most beautiful being Marcus had ever seen. Her skin glowed with a soft blue light, and her long hair seemed to flow like water. Her eyes were large and silver, and when she looked at Marcus, he felt like she could see into his very soul. "So," Queen Lirelei said, her voice like music, "you are the human warrior who thinks he can make peace between our worlds." Marcus bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I am Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Federation. But as a friend who hopes to build a bridge between our peoples," Queen Lirelei studied him carefully. Marcus could feel her mind touching his, though he did not know she was telepathic. Most humans could not sense when Zephyrians used their mental abilities. "You are different from what I expected," she said finally. "The report said humans were crude and violent, but you seem ... calm." "We can be both, Your Majesty," Marcus replied honestly. "When we must fight, we fight with great strength. But when we can make peace, we choose peace." The queen seemed surprised by his honesty. She'd expected him to lie or try to make humans sound better than they were. "Very well," she said. "Tonight you will join me for the ceremonial feast. We will discuss your proposal for peace between our worlds." That evening, Marcus found himself in a great hall filled with Zephyrian nobles. The walls glowed with soft light, and the air smelled like flowers. Long tables were covered with foods that looked like jewels and tasted like music. Marcus sat at the queen's right hand, feeling nervous but honored. He had studied Zephyrian customs, but he knew that one small mistake could ruin everything. "In our culture," Queen Lirelei explained as servants brought strange, glowing fruits, "we share our emotions with our food. It is how we show trust and friendship." Marcus nodded, though he did not fully understand. He watched as the queen picked up a crystal cup filled with golden liquid. Yet, she held it in both hands and closed her eyes, and the liquid began to glow brighter. "Now you," she said, offering him the cup. Marcus took the cup carefully. He had read about this ceremony, but had not understood its true meaning. He was supposed to simply drink from the cup, but in his nervousness, he did something else. He closed his eyes and thought about his hope for peace between their worlds. He thought about how beautiful Zephyria was, and how much he wanted to protect both his people and hers. The cup grew warm in his hands, and the golden liquid began to sparkle. Queen Lirelei's eyes went wide as she felt something she had never experienced before. The human's emotions were flowing into her mind, but they were stronger and more direct than any Zephyrian's thoughts. "What did you do?" she whispered. Marcus opened his eyes, confused. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. Did I do something wrong? Before she could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the palace. The crystal walls turned red, and guards came running into the hall. Raiders, one of them shouted. The Void Hunters are attacking the city. The Void Hunters were space pirates who attacked both human and Zephyrian worlds. They were cruel and cared nothing for peace or life. Queen Lirelei stood up, her face pale. Get everyone to the safe rooms, she ordered her guards, but Marcus was already moving. His warrior instincts had taken over. Your Majesty, your palace guard positions are wrong for this kind of attack, he said quickly. The Void Hunters will use the crystal spires to land their ships. You need to guard the high towers, not the ground level. The Queen looked at him. In surprise? How do you know this? I've fought them before, Marcus replied. If you let me, I can help organize your defenses. For a moment, the Queen hesitated. This human was offering to help protect her people, but could she trust him? Another explosion shook the palace. Through the crystal walls, they could see dark ships landing on the city's beautiful spires. Do it, Queen Lirelei decided. Marcus immediately began giving orders to the Zephyrian guards. He spoke with confidence and clarity, and the guards found themselves following his commands without question. He sent some to protect the power crystals that kept the city running, others to evacuate the civilians, and the rest to strategic positions around the palace. You, he said to the Queen, need to get to safety. I will not hide while my people fight, she replied firmly. Marcus looked at her and saw the same determination in her eyes that he had seen in human warriors. Then we fight together, he said, as the battle raged outside. Marcus and Queen Lirelei worked side by side to protect her people. The human's tactical knowledge combined with the Queen's telepathic abilities to coordinate, the defense created a powerful team. When the last of the Void Hunters was defeated, the Queen looked at Marcus with new respect. He had not only helped save her city, but he had shown her that humans and Zephyrians could work together as equals. Thank you, she said softly. You have shown me that peace between our worlds is possible, Marcus bowed. It was an honor to fight beside you, Your Majesty. Neither of them knew that the ceremony earlier that evening had done more than just show trust. The accidental mind meld had created a connection between them that would change both their lives forever. But for now, they simply felt a new understanding and respect for each other. As the sun rose over the Crystal City, Marcus knew that this mission had been successful. Peace between humans and Zephyrians was now possible. What he did not know was that this was only the beginning of a much larger adventure. 3 months after the successful peace negotiations, Captain Marcus Chen stood in the command center of the Terran Federation's military headquarters on Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, but Marcus knew that peace required constant protection. Excellent work on Zephyria, Captain, Admiral Harrison said, reviewing Marcus's report. The trade agreements you secured will benefit both our worlds for generations. Marcus nodded, though his thoughts kept drifting back to the crystal world and its glowing queen. Since returning to Earth, he had found it hard to focus on his daily duties. Something about that night during the ceremonial feast stayed with him like a warm feeling in his chest that would not go away. Sir, we have a new problem, Lieutenant Torres interrupted, entering the command center with urgent news. The Void Hunters have formed a larger fleet. They're attacking trade routes between human and Zephyrian space. Admiral Harrison's face became serious. How many ships? At least 30, sir. They're using hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and disappearing before our patrols can respond. Marcus stepped forward. Admiral requests permission to lead a task force against them. I know their tactics, and I have experience fighting in that sector. Granted, Captain. Take the Aurora Squadron and stop these pirates before they destroy our new alliance with the Zephyrians. Meanwhile, on the crystal world of Zephyria, Queen Lirelei sat in her private chambers, staring at the results of the medical scan her healers had just completed. The glowing symbols on the crystal tablet showed something that should have been impossible. My queen, her chief healer, Elder Thane, said softly, the scans confirm it. You are carrying a child. Liralay's silver eyes widened in shock. But that cannot be. I have not been with any Zephyrian male. How is this possible? Elder Thane looked puzzled. The genetic patterns are ... unusual. The child appears to be half Zephyrian and half ... something else. Something we have never seen before? Suddenly, Liralay remembered the ceremonial feast and the human captain who had accidentally shared his emotions with her. The memory of that moment was still vivid in her mind, the strength of his thoughts, the warmth of his feelings, the way their minds had touched in a way that was deeper than normal Zephyrian telepathy. The human, she whispered. My queen? Elder Thane asked, concerned. Nothing, Liralay said quickly. Tell no one about this until I decide what to do. But keeping such a secret was impossible. Within days, word spread through the palace that their queen was expecting a child. The Zephyrian Council demanded to know who the father was and when. Liralay refused to answer. Rumors began to fly. This is a disaster, Council Leader Zareth declared during an emergency meeting. A queen cannot have a child without choosing a proper mate through the traditional ceremonies. Perhaps it is a blessing from the crystal spirits, suggested Council Member Leandra. Our queen has always been special. Maybe this child will bring great power to our people. But other council members were not so positive. What if the child is dangerous? What if it threatens our way of life? As the debates raged, Queen Liralay found herself dealing with another problem. The pregnancy was affecting her telepathic abilities in strange ways. Sometimes her powers were stronger than ever, allowing her to sense thoughts from across the palace. Other times, they disappeared completely, leaving her feeling blind and alone. During one council meeting, Liralay suddenly felt sick and had to leave the room quickly. The council members looked at each other with worry. Queen is not well, Zareth said. Perhaps she is not fit to rule in her condition. Do not speak such words, Leandra warned. Queen Liralay is the strongest ruler we have ever had. But doubt was spreading through the palace like a poison. Some nobles began to whisper that maybe it was time for a new queen. Far away in space, Marcus led his squadron of human warships against the Void Hunter fleet. The battle was fierce, with enemy ships attacking from all directions. But Marcus used his knowledge of their tactics to predict their moves. Phoenix Wing moved to intercept the enemy flankers. He ordered over the communication system. Eagle Squadron, protect the supply ships. The human ships moved with precision and speed. Marcus had trained his pilots to think like him, to be adaptable, creative, and brave. When the Void Hunters tried to surround them, the human ships scattered and regrouped in new formations. Their leader is smart, the Void Hunter commander growled to his crew. But we are many, and they are few. The pirates launched their full attack, but Marcus was ready. He had studied their ship designs and knew their weaknesses. All ships target their engine cores, cannot run if they cannot move. The battle lasted for hours. Human innovation and determination fought against pirate ruthlessness and numbers. In the end, Marcus's tactical brilliance won the day. The Void Hunter fleet was destroyed, and the trade routes were safe again. Excellent work, Captain, Admiral Harrison said when Marcus reported the victory. Your success will strengthen our alliance with the Zephyrians. At the mention of Zephyria, Marcus felt that warm feeling in his chest again. He wondered how Queen Liralay was doing and if she ever thought about their time together during the ceremony. Back on Zephyria, Queen Liralay was struggling with more than just morning sickness. Her telepathic abilities were becoming unpredictable, and the council was losing confidence in her leadership. We need to know who the father is, Zareth demanded during another heated meeting. The people are asking questions we cannot answer. Liralay stood up, her royal robes flowing around her like liquid starlight. I will tell you when I am ready, and not before. But privately, she was scared. She had tried to contact Captain Chen through official channels, but the human military would not allow personal communication with foreign leaders. The child growing inside her was changing her in ways she did not understand, and she felt more alone than ever. Night made a difficult decision. She would send a secret message to Marcus, telling him about the child and asking for his help. But she had to be careful. If the wrong people found out, it could destroy the peace between their worlds. Using her most trusted communication officer, Lirelei sent an encrypted message toward Earth. But unknown to her, extremist groups on both worlds were watching for any sign of secret communication between the human and Zephyrian leaders. The message was intercepted by a group of human military officers who believed that aliens could never be trusted. At the same time, a faction of Zephyrian nobles who opposed the peace treaty also detected the transmission. This proves it, the human extremist leader Colonel Vance said to his followers. The aliens are planning something secret. You must act to protect humanity. On Zephyria, the noble Lord Kethron smiled coldly as he read the partial message. His spies had decoded. The Queen is hiding something important. This is our chance to remove her from power. Neither extremist group fully understood what the message contained, but both saw it as an opportunity to destroy the peace between humans and Zephyrians. Dark plans began to form in their minds. Queen Lirelei waited for a response to her message, unaware that her secret was now in the hands of those who would use it to tear apart everything she and Marcus had worked to build. The child growing inside her kicked softly as if sensing the danger that was coming. In space, Marcus continued his patrol duties, unaware that his life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. The connection formed during that ceremonial feast was stronger than either of them realized, and soon it would pull them together again, whether they were ready or not. The peaceful days after the trade agreement were ending. Storm clouds were gathering on both worlds, and the love that had accidentally bloomed between a human warrior and an alien. Queen was about to be tested in ways that would shake the foundations of both civilizations. Captain Marcus Chen sat in his quarters aboard the Federation warship Defiant, staring at the scrambled message fragments that had appeared on his personal communication device. The words made no sense at first, broken pieces of text that seemed to be in both English and Zephyrian. Child. Impossible. Need your help. Marcus frowned and ran the fragments through his translation software. Slowly, a clearer picture began to emerge. Someone from Zephyria was trying to contact him secretly, and they were in trouble. His heart began to race as he recognized the encryption pattern. It was the same type used by Queen Lirelei's personal staff during the peace negotiations.
But
why would she be sending him secret messages? Marcus. Our connection. Expecting. Teat. The pieces suddenly clicked together in his mind, like a puzzle. The warmth he had felt in his chest since returning from Zephyria, the way he could not stop thinking about the Queen, and now this message about a child and their connection during the ceremony. No, Marcus whispered to himself. That's impossible. But even as he said it, he knew it was true. Somehow, during that ceremonial feast, something had happened between them. Something that had created life. Before he could process this revelation fully, his door chimed. Enter, he called. Lieutenant Tora stepped inside, her face grim. Captain, you need to report to Admiral Harrison immediately. There's been a security breach. Marcus quickly deleted the message fragments and followed Torres to the Admiral's office. When he arrived, he found Admiral Harrison waiting with 2 men in military intelligence uniforms. Captain Chen, Admiral Harrison said, seriously, these officers detected unauthorized communication between your personal device and alien sources. Care to explain? Marcus's mind raced. He could not tell them about the message without endangering Lirelei and their child. I have no knowledge of any unauthorized communication, sir. Don't lie to me, Captain, one of the intelligence officers said. We have proof that someone from Zephyria has been trying to contact you. This could be an act of treason. Sir, I have always been loyal to the Federation, Marcus replied. My actions on Zephyria were part of my official duties. Admiral Harrison said, but meeting secretly with alien leaders is not. You're under arrest, Captain Chen. You'll face a court-martial for unauthorized contact with foreign powers. As the security guards moved to arrest him, Marcus felt trapped. He had to get to Zephyria to help Lirelei, but he was about to be locked up for crimes he had not committed. Admiral Harrison said suddenly. Oh, guards, step outside for a moment. The guards looked confused but obeyed. When they were alone, Admiral Harrison turned to Marcus with a different expression on his face. Captain, I've known you for 10 years. the Admiral said quietly. "You're one of the most honest officers I've ever served with. If you're in some kind of trouble, I want to help." Marcus looked at the man who had been like a father to him. "Sir, I cannot tell you everything, but I swear on my honor that I have never betrayed humanity. There's someone on Zephyria who needs my help, and if I don't reach her soon, it could destroy the peace between our worlds." Admiral Harrison studied Marcus's face for a long moment. "Her, yes, sir, and it's not what you think. It's about something much bigger than politics." The Admiral was quiet for several seconds. Then he walked to his desk and pressed a button. "Security, there's been a mistake. Captain Chen is not under arrest. Release him immediately." The intelligence officer protested. "We have clear evidence the evidence is wrong," Admiral Harrison said firmly. "Captain Chen is on a special mission for me. Top secret, you're not to speak of this to anyone." As the intelligence officers left, looking confused and angry, Admiral Harrison turned back to Marcus. "You have 12 hours, Captain. After that, I won't be able to protect you." "Sir, I need a ship. The Fast Runner is in Docking Bay 7. It's the fastest ship in the fleet. The crew is off duty, and there's a problem with the security system that will take exactly 12 hours to fix." Marcus understood. Was giving him a chance to escape. "Thank you, sir. I won't forget this. Just make sure you come back, son. Bring peace with you." 2 hours later, Marcus was racing through space in the stolen ship, pushing its engines to their limit. The journey to Zephyria normally took 3 days, but Marcus did not have 3 days. He pushed the ship harder than it was designed to go. Using his knowledge of military engineering to squeeze every bit of speed from the engines, as he flew, Marcus tried to contact Zephyria through official channels, but he received no response. The closer he got to the crystal world, the more worried he became. Something was very wrong. When he finally arrived at Zephyria, Marcus was shocked by what he saw. The beautiful crystal city was dark, and military ships surrounded the planet. Some belonged to the Zephyrien Royal Guard, but others looked like they belonged to rebel forces. "This is Captain Chen of the Terran Federation," he broadcast on all frequencies. "I request permission to land and speak with Queen Lirelei." Response came from a harsh voice he did not recognize. "Captain Chen, you are not welcome here. The Queen is... unavailable. Turn back immediately." Marcus's blood ran cold. Something had happened to Lirelei. He switched off his communication system and began scanning the planet for a way to land without being detected, using his knowledge of the Crystal City's layout from his previous visit. Marcus found a small canyon on the far side of the planet, where he could hide his ship. He landed and began planning his infiltration of the palace. The Crystal City looked different at night. The beautiful glow was dimmed, and armed guards patrolled the streets. Marcus used the shadows and his military training to move through the city unseen. When he reached the palace, he discovered it was heavily guarded by soldiers wearing armor he had never seen before. These were not the elegant royal guards he remembered, but hard-faced warriors who looked ready for war. Marcus spent hours studying the palace defenses, looking for a way inside. Finally, he remembered something from his first visit, a small maintenance tunnel that led to the lower levels of the palace. It was designed for the small crystal creatures that maintained the building's power systems. The tunnel was tight, but Marcus managed to crawl through it. He emerged in a storage room deep inside the palace. From there, he used his memory of the palace layout to navigate through the crystal corridors. As he moved through the palace, Marcus could hear angry voices coming from the throne room. He crept closer and listened through the crystal walls. "The Queen's condition makes her unfit to rule," a harsh voice was saying. "The child she carries is an abomination that threatens our very existence." "Lord Kethrin speaks truth," another voice agreed. "We must act for the good of all Zephyrians." Marcus's hands clenched into fists. They were talking about Lirelei and their child as if they were monsters. He had to find her. It took him another hour to locate the prison cells deep beneath the palace. The area was guarded, but Marcus used his military training to take down the guards quietly. Found Lirelei in the deepest cell, sitting on a simple crystal bench. She looked up when she heard his footsteps, and her silver eyes widened in disbelief. Marcus? I got your message, he said, quickly opening the cell door using the guard's access crystal. Are you all right? Is the baby? Lirelei stood up, and Marcus could see the small curve of her belly beneath her simple prison robes. The baby is fine, she said softly. But Marcus, there's something you need to know. Our child is not just human and Zephyrian, it's the connection. We formed during the ceremony created something new. What do you mean? The healers say our child will have your human strength and determination, but also our telepathic abilities. Maybe even stronger than any Zephyrian has ever had. That's why some of my people are afraid. Marcus reached out and gently touched her face. I'm not afraid. Our child will be amazing because it comes from both of us. Tears sparkled in Lirelei's eyes. I was so scared you would not come. I will always come for you, Marcus said. Both of you. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the palace. The guards Marcus had defeated had been discovered. We need to leave, Marcus said. Now. But as they reached the corridor, they found their way blocked by a dozen armed soldiers, led by a tall Zephyrian noble wearing dark robes. So, Lord, Catherine said with a cold smile, the human has come to rescue his alien lover. How touching. Guards, kill them both. Marcus stepped in front of Lirelei, ready to fight for both their lives. The greatest challenge was just beginning, but he was determined to protect his family, no matter what it cost him. The love that had accidentally bloomed between a human warrior and an alien queen was about to be tested by fire, and Marcus would not let it be destroyed by fear and hatred. Marcus stood protectively in front of Queen Lirelei as Lord Catherine's soldiers raised their energy weapons. The corridor was narrow, which meant the guards could only attack a few at a time. Marcus had fought in worse situations, but never win. Protecting someone he loved. You cannot escape. Human, Lord Catherine said coldly. Your presence here proves that the Queen has betrayed her own people. The only betrayal here is yours, Lirelei replied, stepping beside Marcus despite his protective stance. You have imprisoned your own queen and threatened an innocent child. Innocent. Catherine laughed harshly. That creature growing inside you is an abomination that will destroy our pure bloodline. Marcus felt anger burning in his chest. That child is the future of both our peoples. It's a bridge between worlds, not a weapon. Enough talk, Catherine commanded. Kill them both. The soldiers moved forward, but Marcus was ready. He grabbed a fallen guard's crystal staff and began fighting with the skill that had made him famous across human space. The energy weapon felt strange in his hands, but he adapted quickly, using the crystal walls of the corridor to reflect the enemy's shots back at them. This way, Lirelei called, leading Marcus through a hidden passage she remembered from her childhood. It ran through secret tunnels that most of the palace guards did not know existed. As they moved through the passages, Lirelei suddenly stopped and gasped, holding her stomach. Marcus, something is happening. Marcus looked at her with concern. What is it? The baby. It's coming now. Marcus felt panic rise in his chest. Here, in these tunnels. Our child will not wait for a safer place, Lirelei said with a weak smile. Help me. Marcus had no medical training, but he had seen enough battlefield injuries to know how to stay calm in emergencies. He helped Lirelei to a wider section of the tunnel and used his jacket to make her more comfortable. I can do this, she whispered, but stay with me. I'm not going anywhere, Marcus promised. The birth was difficult and dangerous, Lirelei's telepathic abilities flickered wildly as the baby was born, sending waves of emotion through the crystal walls of the palace. Some guards stopped fighting when they felt the queen's pain, while others became more determined to find them. Then, finally, a small cry echoed through the tunnel. Marcus looked down at the tiny being in his arms and felt his heart fill with wonder. The baby had Lirelei's luminescent skin and his own dark hair. But most amazing were its eyes. They seemed to hold the wisdom of both worlds. She's perfect, Marcus whispered. Aurora, Lirelei said softly. Her name is Aurora. If responding to her name, the baby opened her eyes and looked at both her parents. In that moment, Marcus and Lirelei felt something incredible. The baby's first telepathic communication. It was not words, but pure emotion. Love, joy, and hope flowed from the child into their minds. The feeling was so strong that it spread. Beyond the tunnel, throughout the palace, both loyal guards and rebels stopped fighting as they felt the baby's innocent love touching their hearts. Even Lord Kethrin stumbled as the emotion reached him. What is this? He demanded. Hope, Elder Thane said. The old healer had been secretly searching for the queen and had felt the baby's birth through his telepathic connection. The child has been born, and she carries love for all people. But not everyone was touched by the baby's message. On Earth, Colonel Vance had gathered a group of human extremists who believed aliens were humanity's enemies. When their spies reported that the queen had given birth to a hybrid child, Vance saw his chance. This proves what we've always said, he told his followers. The aliens are trying to breed with us to create a new species that will replace humanity. We must act now. At the same time, some Zephyrians had come to the same conclusion. A group of nobles led by Kethron made a secret agreement with the human extremists. Both groups would work together to destroy the hybrid child and break the peace between their worlds. Marcus and Lyrile, still hiding in the tunnels with baby Aurora, received word of this alliance from loyal supporters. Elder Thane had managed to reach them with a small group of royal guards who remained faithful to their queen. My queen, Elder Thane said urgently, both human and Zephyrian fleets are approaching the planet. They mean to destroy you and the child. Marcus looked at his daughter, so small and innocent in Lyrile's arms. How many ships?
40 human vessels and 60 Zephyrian rebel ships, a guard reported.
They will arrive within hours. We need to get you and Aurora to safety, Marcus said to Lyrile. There is an old sanctuary in the Crystal Caves, Elder Thane suggested. It's hidden and protected by natural defenses. Marcus nodded. Get them there. I'll organize the defense. No, Lyrile said firmly. We stay together. Both worlds need to see that we are united, not divided. Within hours, Marcus found himself leading a mixed force of human and Zephyrian defenders. Some were loyal royal guards, others were Federation. Officers who had come to believe in the peace between their worlds. It was a small army, but they were fighting for something greater than themselves. The Crystal Caves were beautiful, but provided good defensive positions. Marcus used his tactical knowledge to place the defenders where they could best use the natural crystal formations for cover. Remember, he told his mixed force of humans and Zephyrians, we're not just fighting for our queen or our worlds. We're fighting for the future. The battle began at dawn. Ships from both the human extremists and Zephyrian rebels attacked the caves with everything they had. Marcus led the defense with courage and skill, but they were greatly outnumbered. During the fiercest part of the battle, something amazing happened. Baby Aurora, safe in the deepest part of the caves, began to cry. But this was no ordinary cry. It was a telepathic call that carried her emotions across the battlefield. Baby's feelings were simple but powerful. Love for her parents, hope for the future, and sadness that people were fighting. The emotion was so pure and strong that it reached the minds of soldiers on both sides. She's just a baby, one human soldier whispered, lowering his weapon. An innocent child. What are we doing? A Zephyrian rebel asked his commander. Carries the love of both our peoples. One by one, soldiers began to stop fighting. Some threw down their weapons and walked away. Others turned to fight against their own commanders who still wanted to destroy the child. Marcus saw what was happening and knew this was his chance. He activated the communication system in his ship and broadcast a message to both fleets. Is Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Federation? He said. I stand here with Queen Lyrile and our daughter Aurora. She is not a weapon or a threat. She is hope. She is proof that our two peoples can create something beautiful together. On the transmission, viewers could see Marcus holding the baby while Lyrile stood beside him. The child's eyes seemed to look directly at everyone watching, and those with telepathic abilities could feel her innocent love reaching out to them. Look at her, Marcus continued. She carries the best of both our worlds. She has human determination and Zephyrian wisdom. She is not here to replace anyone. She is here to bring us together. The message spread across both worlds. On Earth, families gathered around their screens to see the first hybrid child. On Zephyria, People watched in wonder as they felt the baby's telepathic embrace. "We can choose fear," Marcus said. "Or we can choose love. We can choose to see differences as threats, or we can see them as gifts." Aurora represents the future, not just for humans or Zephyrians, but for all beings who choose to build rather than destroy. As the broadcast ended, more soldiers laid down their weapons. Colonel Vance and Lord Kethrin found themselves leading smaller and smaller forces as their followers abandoned the fight. But the battle was not over. The extremists who remained were more determined than ever to destroy what they saw as a threat to their pure worlds. Marcus knew the hardest fight was still ahead, but as he looked at his daughter and the woman he loved, he felt ready for whatever came next. Aurora had brought hope to both worlds, but now that hope would be tested in the fires of war. The future of 3 species, human, Zephyrian, and the new hybrid children who might follow, hung in the balance. The broadcast of Marcus's message spread across both worlds like wildfire. On Earth, people watched in amazement as they saw the first human-alien hybrid child. On Zephyria, citizens felt baby Aurora's telepathic warmth reaching across space to touch their hearts. But Colonel Vance and Lord Kethrin were not ready to give up. With their remaining extremist forces, they launched a final desperate attack on the Crystal Caves where Marcus, Lirelei, and Aurora had taken shelter. "We end this madness today," Vance declared to his remaining followers. "That abomination will not live to pollute our species." At the same time, Lord Kethrin gathered his most loyal warriors. "The pure blood of our people must be protected. The hybrid child threatens everything we hold sacred." Marcus stood at the entrance of the Crystal Caves, watching the approaching enemy ships. He had perhaps 50 defenders left, humans and Zephyrians who had chosen to fight together. Against them came the last 200 extremists, who refused to accept peace. "This is it," Marcus said to his mixed force. "We make our stand here." But before the battle could begin, something unexpected happened. Ships began arriving from both Earth and Zephyria, not extremist vessels, but regular military forces led by Admiral Harrison and Queen Lirelei's loyal commanders. "Captain Chen," Admiral Harrison's voice came over the communication system. "This is Admiral Harrison with the Federation 3rd Fleet. We're here to support you." At the same time, Commander Thurl of the Zephyrian Royal Guard sent his own message. "My queen, the loyal forces of Zephyria stand ready to protect you and your child." Marcus felt relief wash over him. The message of hope had worked. Both governments had decided to support the new family instead of fearing it. The final battle was brief but intense. Colonel Vance and Lord Kethrin found themselves facing not just Marcus's small force, but the combined might of both the human and Zephyrian militaries. When their remaining followers saw the official fleets fighting together, most of them surrendered. "You cannot stop what we represent," Vance shouted as he was arrested. "Fear of the unknown is stronger than hope." "No," Marcus replied, holding baby Aurora in his arms. "Love is stronger than fear. Hope is stronger than hatred. And unity is stronger than division." Lord Kethron was also captured, still refusing to accept that the hybrid child could be anything but a threat. As the guards led him away, Aurora looked at him with her innocent eyes and sent a small telepathic message of forgiveness. The old noble stumbled, feeling the child's pure love despite his hatred. With the extremists defeated, a new chapter began for both worlds. Marcus and Lirelei were invited to Earth to meet with the Federation Council, and then to Zephyria too. Address the Zephyrian Assembly. Baby Aurora went with them, becoming the first hybrid child to visit both her parents' homeworlds. On Earth, people were fascinated by the glowing baby who seemed to understand human emotions, even though she was only a few months old. When President Martinez held Aurora during a ceremony, the baby's telepathic abilities allowed her to sense his nervousness, and she sent him feelings of comfort and peace. "She's remarkable," the president said. "She truly is a bridge between our peoples." On Zephyria, Aurora's presence caused an even greater stir. The Crystal City's lights grew brighter when she arrived, as if the buildings themselves were responding to her hybrid nature. Elder Thane examined her and discovered that her telepathic abilities were indeed stronger than any pure Zephyrians. She can communicate with both organic minds and crystal technology, he explained to the amazed assembly. She represents evolution, not replacement, but growth. As Aurora grew during her first year, she showed remarkable abilities. She could sense emotions from both humans and Zephyrians with equal ease. She could communicate telepathically with Zephyrians, while also learning to speak human languages. Most importantly, she seemed to naturally understand both cultures and could help translate not just words, but feelings and intentions. Marcus and Leah Relay worked together to establish new forms of cooperation between their worlds. Marcus used his military experience to create joint defense forces that protected both Earth and Zephyria from external threats like the Void Hunters. Lerelay's telepathic network helped prevent the misunderstandings that had caused conflicts. In the past, we're not just making peace, Marcus explained to Admiral Harrison during one of their planning sessions. We're creating a new kind of civilization, one that combines the best of both our peoples. The changes were not just political. Scientists from both worlds began working together, combining human innovation with Zephyrian crystal technology. Artists created new forms of beauty that appealed to both human eyes and Zephyrian telepathic senses. Children on both worlds grew up learning about each other's cultures as naturally as they learned about their own. Aurora became the symbol of this new age. When she took her first steps, she did so in a special ceremony attended by representatives from dozens of worlds. Her first words were Mama in English and Papa in Zephyrian. But she also projected her joy telepathically, causing crystal flowers to bloom in the palace gardens. As Aurora's first birthday approached, Marcus and Lirelay planned a celebration that would be remembered for generations. Leaders from across the galaxy came to witness the birthday of the first hybrid child and to celebrate the new era of cooperation she represented. Look how far we've come, Lirelay said to Marcus, as they watched their daughter play with children from both worlds. Aurora was teaching human children how to sense emotions while learning from Zephyrian youngsters how to make the palace crystals glow with her thoughts. She's everything we hoped she would be, Marcus replied. She's brought our worlds together in ways we never imagined. The birthday celebration was held in the Crystal Gardens, where representatives from both worlds had gathered. Aurora, now walking steadily and babbling in both languages, moved among the guests without fear. She seemed to instinctively know that everyone there loved her and wanted to protect her. During the ceremony, Aurora did something that amazed everyone present. She placed her small hands on a large crystal formation and began to glow with the same light as her mother's people. But at the same time, she showed the determination and strength that were distinctly human. The crystal began to pulse with a rhythm that matched a human heartbeat. She's connecting both our technologies, Elder Thane whispered in wonder, showing us that we can be stronger together than apart. As the celebration continued, Aurora's telepathic joy spread beyond the palace. On Earth, people reported feeling unexpectedly happy and hopeful. On Zephyria, the crystal cities glowed, brighter than they had in centuries. Even on distant worlds, beings with telepathic abilities felt a touch of the child's pure love. Marcus stood with Lirelay and their daughter, looking out at the mixed crowd of humans and Zephyrians who had become friends and allies. He thought about the diplomatic mission that had brought him to Zephyria almost 2 years ago, and how it had led to the greatest adventure of his life. I came here to make peace, he said to Lirelay. But I found something much more important. That, she asked, though she already knew the answer. I found a family, and through our family, I found hope for the future. Aurora looked up at her parents and sent them a telepathic message of love so pure and strong that it brought tears to their eyes. Around them, the crystal flowers bloomed brighter, and the sounds of laughter and friendship filled the air. The celebration continued into the night. Marcus reflected on humanity's greatest strength. It was not their weapons or their technology, but their ability to love across all boundaries. They could form connections with any being, no matter how different, and create something beautiful together. Aurora represented that strength made manifest. She was proof that love could overcome fear, that understanding could defeat hatred, and that the future belonged to those who chose to build bridges instead of walls. The human warrior had indeed found his greatest victory, not in battle, but in the creation of hope itself. And as Aurora grew, she would carry that hope to the stars, showing the galaxy that differences were not threats to be feared but gifts to be celebrated. The age of unity had begun. It would start with the laughter of a child who belonged to all worlds and yet was uniquely her own.